Hey guys, hope everyone's doing well. Happy March! Oh my gosh, it's March, I just realized that. Happy March 1st, it is amazing. It is March 1st. Wow, time flies. A lot of great things have happening. Just got back from a few different trips and I am 36 hours into my water fast. Okay, I know this isn't a health video, but I actually feel pretty good. I feel really, really great. I'll make a separate one about that. So today we're gonna be talking about some key questions to ask at the end of interviews, okay? You always wanna make sure that you have 2 to 5 different key questions that you wanna ask. This helps you get the information where it flips the table where you're interviewing the company, as well as sets you up for success, as well as helps you stand out from the crowd, okay? So, by the way, just a heads up, you guys gotta check this out. It is blizzard going on right now at where I live. I don't know if you guys can see that if it's coming out, but total blizzard zone going on here in Oregon, but very, very fun. The wife's away in San Diego with her family, so I hope she's enjoying that. Anyway, so let's talk about a few different things, some parameters when it comes to this type of stuff. Yeah, by the way, so water cleanse, this is water, only drinking water. It's okay to have a little bit of coffee or green tea, having a little bit of that in the morning. I was up at 4 a.m. talking to friends in Tokyo. Just thought I would. But going back to the subject, so interviewing and why you want to ask key questions. So number one, this has to be a win-win relationship. You have to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success with the right company, the right industry, right product, the right leadership, the right compensation plan, the right tools that you have going on. You have to make sure that you have this checklist. And by the way, I do have a new checklist available. It's a new blueprint. It's kind of more a lot of my notes combined into one. This is years and years and years of work. If anybody wants to check that out, I'll put it in the description. It's not free. It's like, I might make it 10, 20 bucks, but because it's like, hey, this is stuff that took me years and years and years. But it's a checklist to make sure that you are asking the right questions and making sure that you're setting yourself up for success, because you don't want to be in a job that 6 months later, you picked the wrong one. And then you got to start all over again, or you're swimming upstream. You're kind of pushing the boulder up the hill instead of building momentum and being able to close a lot more efficiently and getting to AE faster and also making the money, making the commission. So you want to make sure that you're asking key questions. There's points where you want to make sure you're doing research before the interview. You research the company. When you're kind of job hunting, I know you can't research in depth too much, but once you get the interview, make sure you have questions available. You do a little bit of research, spend 15 minutes kind of deep diving, and I'll teach that in another video. But at the end of the interview, you ask certain questions. You want to make sure you're setting yourself up for success, okay? You should already know what the product is, a little bit more about the product, and you want to make sure that, is this a product that's in need now, or is it in need in the next 2 years? Very significant. There's always kind of a slope, and when a company grows, you want to grow with it, and that's how you're going to get promoted the fastest, how you're going to make the most money. So you want to make sure that you're positioning yourself within a company as it begins to kind of really take off. There's pros and cons with each. So some key questions at the end. You want to make sure first off that you're checking out the time. Okay, so the first interview, usually the way it goes is the first interview is kind of a phone screening. It's by a recruiter or a lower level recruiter, or maybe an assistant who is just going through a script. They're making sure that you are who you say you are, that your resume checks out, how you sound on the phone as well. So this is a really big thing where you want to make sure you are practicing your sales skills right off the bat. So strongly recommend that when you do this, and you know it's coming, you answer the phone with a smile. You make sure that you're standing. A lot of studies have shown that you have more energy when, hence this. When you're standing and you're smiling, smile and dial. This is really the same thing when you're basically receiving the phone call for the interview. And usually the way I do it is just be like, hi, this is Ryan speaking. I make sure that it's upbeat. It's a little bit more as somebody's trying to call me at the same time. I'll call them back. But you want to make sure that it's upbeat when you're doing this so you have that great first impression right away. So questions at the end. You want to make sure that you're asking a few questions, and it's okay if you have your own questions about the product or stuff like that. Here's a few questions that I think can help you. So there's a few ones that you want to start asking, and this also depends on the time. You want to make sure that this doesn't take longer than like 5 minutes, okay? Okay, thank you. Emails are coming in too. I should have put no notifications, but yeah, you want to make sure that I lost my train. You want to make sure that you are asking the right questions to set yourself up for success, but you're very aware of the timing. So for example, they have 15 minutes on the phone. Make sure your questions are about 5 minutes in length. If you're on a video interview, you want to make sure that you're not at the end of the hour, okay? It's not like an hour and they have 2 minutes until their next meeting and then you start asking questions, because they're trying to get off that. If it's like a 40-minute interview, great. You have 5 to 10 minutes to ask key questions where you can flip the script, ask them key things to make sure it's the right fit for you, okay? Very important. So you be aware of timing. You want to make sure that you're giving them a little bit of time, at least 5 or 10 minutes before their next meeting, so you leave with a good impression too, okay? All right, so some questions that I would recommend asking. Number one, you want to ask like kind of sales questions, right? What is the KPI? What is the sales cycle? Some of the things that I want to know especially is who is leading the sales team, okay? If you can't find that out from LinkedIn, who is actually leading the team? Is it somebody who's not on LinkedIn? Not all salespeople are on LinkedIn. Not everybody's on there. So I want to find out who is leading it. What is a little bit about their background? What makes them like, somebody I can like learn from, mentor from, who's closing deals? Why are they leading? This is very significant too. Is it somebody with 10 years of experience? Or is it somebody who has 1 year experience repeated 10 times? It's very, very different. So make sure you're looking at that. Next thing is kind of the size of the sales team. Okay, I want to find out how big is the sales team. Ideal situation, you are not the first salesperson of this company. That's ideally. I would only do that if it's like the most revolutionary product and Mark Cuban was financing the whole thing or something like that you know it's going to take off. Otherwise, if you're not really sure, you want to make sure there's a few other salespeople who have been there that can show you the ropes when you jump in. Otherwise, you're going to be figuring it all out yourself, and the learning curve is going to be a lot longer before you get sales. Once you figure out what other people have done that's working, that learning curve shortens significantly. Okay, so then you can kind of copy and start tweaking what works and what doesn't work. So that's the other thing too. Make sure that you find out kind of like what is the size of the sales cycle, what is the size of the team, who's leading the team, a little bit more on the product. But also you want to find out what is the company culture. What's the company culture like? That's going to speak volumes if it resonates with you too, and it's also something that you can see yourself being there for long term. You want to try to be with this company. If you're committing to a new company, at least see yourself between 2 to 5 years. Okay, for the next 2 to 5 years, I'm going to plant my flag in this company, and I'm going to make sure I'm going to be as successful as I can be. Okay, I'm going to add value to them. And then in 2 years, 2 or 3 years, I'm going to reassess. But you want to have that commitment. And that'll also help you in sales during like the ones that are like peaks and valleys. You want to make sure you have that commitment so that in the low, when it gets to the low, you're like, hey, I've committed, I'm going to go forward with this. Okay. So you also can ask the recruiter, what do you like best? Where do you see the company also going in the future? What do you see? What do you find the most exciting? If there was, what is the biggest obstacle for new salespeople in this company? That's a really good one. I like using that one. Okay, really, really important. The other things are salary oriented. Okay, in any type of sales organization, if you suck, you're not going to stay. So you want to make sure, and also the base should never be your goal. Okay, the OTE should be your goal, and usually with a lot of companies, it's like half, 50% base, 50% is commission, or sometimes 70-30. I've been to companies like that. I actually prefer that the most, but usually it's 2-to-1 ratio. So you want to find out what is the average OTE of the sales, what is the average OTE of everyone? Okay, cool. What does the top 10% salespeople do for OTE? So I find out the average, I find out the top 1%, so I can kind of guesstimate based on the salary that's already provided what the bottom is doing. Usually within every sales organization, you have 90 days to start kind of ramping up. That's usually how it goes. The bottom 20% of people are going to be let go or fired. The easiest way they know is that you have to be making more than your base. Okay, if you're making less than your base, then obviously the company's losing money because of you. They're going to give the opportunity to somebody else. If you're making more than your base, you're safe. You're okay. You're doing well. However, you're going to be average. You're going to be doing just okay. You're not going to be getting to AE. You're not going to be getting the promotion. You're not going to be getting the free trip, President's Circle if you do that. You have to try to be in the top 20%, okay? So also, which happens a lot, I know that's not the subject of this video, a lot of people forget they try to be the top 1% of the company right out of the gate. And I would strongly recommend that you do it in increments. If you join a company, so when you do the interview, your job is not to get the offer, it's to get the next interview. Okay, focus on the next logical step. Focus on mastering the next interview or the next sales call or the mock sales call or the panel interview or the one-on-one with the CEO. Once you get the offer, that next stage, you focus on learning the product, learning the company, learning the product, learning the industry. Okay, I would say for the first 3 months. Oh, somebody's, okay, I gotta make sure that that's good. Anyway, yeah, somebody's contacting me about something that's important. And I'm losing my train of thought. Anyway, first 3 months on the job, make sure that you're focusing on the company and the industry and the product. Just mastering that and mastering kind of the basic sales script. The next 3 months after that is making sure that you're the average salesperson. You're getting to that, hey, I'm one of the other guys and I'm doing really, really well. A lot of happens is I get the enthusiasm, but people burn out easily. And you want to make sure you take it in increments. That last 3 months, that final 3 months, that last quarter, that's the ones all right, we got going, we got everything revved up, and now we're going to try to get to the top 20%. So I would do it in increments of that. Anyway, hope that helps. Definitely check out some of the links I sent. I have said it before, we have free resumes. They're completely free. You can use the link below. When I take a poll of people, 10% of people have told me they've gotten jobs just because of the tips that are in there. If they want to do a mock interview with me, I've been able to get 50% of people their ideal position and into the job they wanted. Usually it's either in cybersecurity or an SDR. I've had one that was a sales director. So it's happened a lot. And I would definitely recommend checking out some of the boot camps that I recommend. These are the ones that I'm actually a consultant with you can see me on Tuesday evenings. I usually lead the resume optimization and kind of career counseling, and that's completely free with some of those programs. So definitely check out in the description a lot of those links, and looking forward to talking to you guys soon, and hope you guys are having well and have a great weekend, and wish me luck on this water fast because I got another 36 hours to go, and I feel pretty good. I was kind of hungry yesterday, but luckily doing okay today. All right, guys, cheers.